and welcome to the Creatives Get Real podcast. I'm Roben-Marie Smith.
And I'm Sandi Keene, and these are real conversations about the creative life. Hey, Robin.
Hey, dear. How's it going?
It's going good. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good myself. We're talking about mailing lists today. Woohoo! I'm sorry, I just had to throw that out. We usually go on about something before we get to that. But
yes, mailing lists.
And I don't mean junk mail list. I don't mean that. I mean mailing list for your community, your peeps, your people.
Yes, important, not sexy. It's not a sexy topic, kids.
Exactly. But it is vital.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So let's talk about that. Mm-hmm. So why don't you just, if you don't mind, you explain exactly what we're talking about when we say mailing lists.
Yep, your mailing list. That is where you offer an incentive, or you just have those that follow you, whether it's through your blogging or in social media, or maybe they purchase from you through your shop, to join your mailing list so that you can then keep in touch with them, whether it's to give them updates on things that you have for sale or freebies or just sharing your general knowledge. This is how you reach out to your those that follow you. That's how you have control over that. You are able to say, I want to send out an email, and then you create it and it goes out and you've got instant contact with those people that have signed up that said, I want to hear from you. That's the key thing, really. It's you don't have to worry about whether they're like, oh, they're probably hating that I'm sending. No, they've said, I want to hear from you. Send me emails, right? Yeah.
Yes. It's funny, this comes up in coaching so often because clients, they have email lists, but there's this woman thing about not wanting to bother people. And I explain all the time, heck no, people sign up for your email list. They have said, I want to know, tell me. It would be like, let's pick your favorite store. Let's say it's Anthropologie. And you found out that Anthropologie had this enormous buy one, get one free sale. And they told everybody but you. How will you feel?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, wait a minute. I told you I wanted to know all the stuff.
Right. Yeah. Let me decide what I don't want to know. Right. Don't decide for me.
Exactly.
So we talk about that a lot. That is such a female thing about not wanting to bother people, and that marketing, when some women think of marketing, they immediately go to used car salesman.
Yeah.
And that's
sleazy.
What they, sleazy. That's what they don't want to be. No, marketing is telling the people the information they've asked for.
Right. And it's even more than that too, when this is how they get to know you. You're sharing stories, you're sharing experiences, and you're relating them to them and what they're dealing with. Because it's like, people that are wanting to hear from me are not people that want tips and advice on yoga.
Right.
Those are not the people that are signing up for, well, they might be on the techie side, but you know what I'm saying. They're not interested in my art. They're not interested in that. But those that are, they want to know what's going on. How did you get started? What tips do you have? These are people are all at different places. And so they want to know. They're excited when there's some people, I'm so excited when I get an email from them. Like, oh, what are they doing now? What are they up to? Or do they have a class? Do they have something for sale? Because I'm going to go right there right now to their shop.
Yeah.
But I think in our mind, we're like, oh, like you said, I don't want to bother them. Now, you don't want to always be sending emails out that are always about stuff you're selling, because that's not good. But if you have a nice mix and you have that blend in there, plus these people should be treated special. I know we're going to get to that. That's on our bullet list. But anyway,
But go ahead. We don't. Go ahead and talk about that, because you're absolutely right.
Yeah. And what I'll do is one of the things I do for my list is when I have products that I put in my store. Generally, it's always handmade stuff. They get the email first before it ever gets promoted socially. Because if stuff sells out, I want them to be the ones to have the first dibs on it. So that then when I put it on social, it's like, I don't know if there's anything in there, but those are the things, a special coupon, whatever. They get treated special because they've said, I want to hear from you. And they are on your list. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah. I totally agree. And I think the people on your email list should have all of those special
Mm,
perks,
yep.
like opening a class. Let's say you have a
Mhm.
classroom, opening it early, and they're the only ones in the classroom.
Yep.
It's just them. And
Yep.
they're starting to post things before anyone else can even buy the class. I mean, how awesome
Yep.
is they're like,
I know.
where the heck did you get that? Oh yeah, I'm special.
That's
I'm
right.
in this class.
That's exactly
You
right.
can't even buy it till tomorrow.
Uh-huh. And the hidden thing there is there's an incentive for people to get on your list, right? Because
Yes,
they know that there's something special, or they know there's a benefit that's beyond just I get emails from them. Yeah.
right.
So,
And you're sharing. I mean, when I was starting in watercolor, anybody who's starting in a new medium, you want to know everything. The simplest things. What is that brush in your hand? Where do I get it? All of those things. What paper are you using? What colors? What's your favorite things? Where do you get your inspiration? All of those things are so important and people want to know them. And if you're willing to share them in a newsletter, they're very excited about that.
yeah,
So
I
let's
totally
talk.
agree. Hmm.
We've talked about
Hmm.
how important they are, and they
Hmm.
are. How do I get one? Like, okay, I've got 7 people on my mailing
Hmm.
list. What do I do from there? Because I'm guessing that's not enough. You are
Hmm.
correct. 7 is not enough. So
No.
let's talk a little bit about how you
Hmm.
can build.
Hmm.
So,
Well, I mean, how do you get one? First, you have to have the means to get them. Whether, they're called email service providers. It's a way for the people that are interested in what you have to say to be able to sign up to then get onto your list.
mhm.
It's actually not good practice and kind of illegal to just put people on your email list and send them without them giving consent. That's very
Yeah, it's
important.
very illegal.
Yeah,
Let's just
you got it.
let's
Yeah,
put
it's
that out
illegal,
there, right?
people. I always like to say I can't give legal advice, but this one I know it is illegal. You cannot do it.
Yes.
So you need to choose whatever email service provider you're going to use. That will be the one that you will use to send emails and also create forms. Everybody knows what these look like because you've signed up for them. And then behind the scenes, you get added to their list and then they have your information so they can then send out however frequent they want to emails to you, whether it's a weekly newsletter or whether it's just updates here and there. That is how you'll reach out to them. But you don't have to do it where it's just, hey, sign up for my newsletter. Lots of people do that. You can give them an incentive to sign up, whether it's 20% off a course, or maybe it's a freebie of maybe it's a download, or
Mhm.
maybe it's a free little video tutorial that only they get to see. Things like that will give an incentive for people to want to be on your list. And this is so very important. Don't have people sign up to your list and then never send emails to them. You cannot do that. You have to email them. In fact, they need to get an email from you right away, whether it's a day later, and then you say, welcome. And then you remind them who you are and that they signed up for your list, and you nurture them a little bit. Send out another
Mhm.
email a few days later, letting them know your story, what they can expect from you. You can expect to hear from me every Saturday or whatever that looks like.
Mhm.
But then you need to follow through. But
Right.
I mean, how many times have you signed up for something like to be on a list and then you never hear anything? And then, like, I don't know, 3 months later, it's like, oh, I have this thing for sale. And you're going, who are you? You don't want to do that.
Right. Yeah, I find it very disappointing to sign up for an email list because you've found somebody, you're so excited, you're so inspired by them, and then you wait and you wait and you wait and you wait a month and then you
Yep.
get an email and you're like, dude, I moved on.
I moved on.
I'm dating
Exactly.
someone else now.
Oh, absolutely. That is so true. Yeah. And we all can think of those situations, or you haven't heard from somebody in, I don't know, 8 or 9 months, and you're like, seriously, I'm not interested anymore. Like you
Yes.
said, I've moved on. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a no, people. That's a
Yeah.
no. Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really nice to offer an incentive. I think you're
Mm-hmm.
right because someone is giving you their email address. I think there should be some
Mm-hmm.
reciprocation.
Yep.
Like, I value you. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for giving me your email address. I understand you can unsubscribe at any moment, but I still want to thank you.
Yep.
So please, like you said, here's a list of my favorite tools. Here's a video. Here's a coupon.
Right.
Here's a something. Thank you for trusting me.
I agree 100%. And when it's something substantial or something kind of juicy, then it's sort of like, ooh, what else do they have? You know, what other things? You know, it's just, and it doesn't have to be a free course. I mean, it could be, but you know, it's just, I think it's just when you start out, if you can come up with something, rather than it just being sign up for my newsletter. And if that's all you've got right now, and I say do that rather than do nothing.
Right.
Do that rather than nothing, because it does take time to set this up. It takes time to get your whatever that form is that you're going to do, and we're going to talk about this in a second when we talk about how often you should send out emails. Why not? Let's just dive into that.
Go for it.
I really, I'm practicing what I preach here, is that when someone signs up, they are automatically entered into a series of emails that are welcoming them to my list, where they learn about me, they learn about my art, they learn about my favorites. I direct them to, hey, here's this tutorial that you really might be interested in, and here's the link to that. I don't put all of that in the same email. I break it up to where they immediately get a welcome email, and then like a day later, and then maybe 2 days later, 3 days, within a period of probably over a month, they're getting emails from me. Then once they're done with all of those, which I update from time to time, depending on what's happening, they go into every week they get an email. Now, there are a few times where I miss a Saturday, but my goal is every single week to send something, whether it's information about our podcast, or I've got a tutorial, or, hey, I got some tips for you. But I try to at least do twice a month. My goal is always every week. And then they're not wondering, well, who is this person? They're expecting emails, and I get responses back. I love getting your emails. I get so excited when I see your email come in, you know, and that's what you want to hear, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about what's the value to you as a creative, as an artist? What do you get out of this email list? So what would you say is your top thing?
You have a group of people who have said, I know we're talking about this from a business perspective, who have said, I really like what you're doing. I want to hear from you. We call that a warm audience. They're not cold. They're not just somebody, hey, I've got this new course and I'd like to promote it. You just throw that out there on Facebook. It's kind of to a cold audience. But your warm audience, my experiences, most of the sales that I get for courses, signups, products that are sold in my shop, all come from my email list. As soon as the word goes out, it's just like, because they know what to expect. You've developed a relationship with them. They trust you, and they're waiting for that to happen. They're just like, it's like you said, you're so excited you find this person, and then you're like, oh my gosh, they just sent me an email. They've given me some tips. Now I know what their products they're using. Oh, and then they gave me a tutorial and showed me how to use this. I mean, you're building up a relationship with them. And at any time, you can just send them an email and let them know what's going on. So I think that, yes, you build a community, but I don't have, conversations with everybody on my list. A lot of people I do, they reach out and we converse, but it's knowing that there's that group out there that's just ready and waiting for when you have something. We all have those people. I do. It's like,
sure,
when's their next class coming out, or when's the next whatever, or what, learning something new, whatever that looks like. But so I think for me, that's the biggest thing is you have direct contact, a way to reach out to that audience that has said, I want to hear from you.
Exactly. Yeah. The other thing, I think yours is number one. But number two would be this list, these people that you have, you own this. Meaning that Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever, Twitter, whatever you're using, can't change the algorithm, and these people can't find you anymore.
Right.
You have control over this. You own it. And that's really important in your business, as we all know.
Yep.
The Instagram, has changed algorithms, and
Mm-hmm.
like you're looking at your post and you're like, I've seen this before. And you look and you're like, this post is from 6 days ago.
Exactly.
Why is that my feed now? Like we
Yep.
can't figure out what the
Mm-hmm.
heck Instagram is doing.
Right.
This is our way of directly speaking. Like we're texting our people.
Mm-hmm.
We're not just
Exactly.
like standing in our front yard yelling, hoping that the right people hear us. We're
Mm-hmm.
texting with the right
That's
people.
exactly right.
Yeah.
And
So
in light of where we are in the world today, you can be censored on those social media channels as well,
that's
where
true.
you could lose your account in a heartbeat. And I
Mm-hmm.
have had some people through Makers Tech who have been just, I don't understand what's happened. This is happening. I mean, there's so many different things that can happen.
Yes.
Shadow ban, you're using the wrong hashtag, whatever. No reason whatsoever that we can figure out why you can't get it in your account.
Yes.
So with an email list, now some of you might be saying, well, but I don't understand what you mean. If I own this, but I'm still paying for a service, so don't they own it? It's like at any time you can download and back up your list so that
Mm-hmm.
you always have it. I mean, it can be something that, you think I'm going to do this every week or every month or whatever, is I'm going to back up my list to my own computer so I have it. I can take it anywhere I go. If you decide you want to go to a new, different email service provider, you download your stuff and you put all your peeps up in the new one. So
Right.
it just like, you put it in the suitcase and you go to the next location.
Mm-hmm.
But technically, yeah, you are paying for the service, but there's, it's not like social media.
Right. Where it can
Mm-hmm.
just disappear
Mm-hmm. That's right.
and the algorithm suddenly locks you out.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
So it's really important if you're business building or
Mm-hmm.
if you're creative that just wants to share,
Right.
it can still be important because that's your audience who wants
Mm-hmm.
to hear from you.
That's right.
So email lists are very important. It's probably right up there with having a website.
Mm-hmm.
Have a place, a home base,
Right.
and then get your email list. Those are some very
Mm-hmm.
fundamental parts
Mm-hmm.
of
Oh, it is
business.
absolutely. Yeah. In fact, in Makers Tech U, we do discuss a lot of things that are technical. We get the websites up, but list building is very, very important. And, some people are probably going, yeah, but I don't really know what to send to my list. And that can be intimidating. It can be like, I don't really know. But there's so many different things that you can send to them. And, everything from, and it doesn't have to be anything that's super current. Okay, you might have done a tutorial maybe a month or two ago. Well, there's nothing that says you can't put that in a newsletter and say, hey, just in case you missed this has been
Mm-hmm.
one of my most popular tutorials or whatever. I think that we are so in that mindset of immediate, it has to be what happened right now, right now, right now, that we forget about all the great stuff we've done.
Yes.
I've got blog posts that I'm like, that's great stuff. That would really benefit somebody. I'm going to put that in a newsletter. I'm going to add a little story to it. I'm going to tweak it, but that's important.
Yeah.
So I think that if you sat down and started brainstorming and writing out a list, look at the ones you receive. What do you like about them?
Mm-hmm.
Is it, and I'm going to say this because this is my own preference. I don't like emails that are books. That's one pet peeve I have. That's just me. If I open it and it's like tons and tons of paragraphs and I'm like, oh, and this is just me. You could be able to relate to this. Don't use a font that's 10 points. Please. I don't want to have to increase the size of my monitor to see an email. It's like, what is it these people send out? And then light colored font. I'm like, I can't even see that.
Right.
Those are little things. See, this is where we get off, where we weren't really planning on talking about. We just it just comes to us. But
those are good points, though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Break it up with paragraphs. Break it up with headings. Add in images. Yes, bullet points. Add in images.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have this big, huge looking paragraph thing where you're just like, because people are just going to be like, what? And another tip, some people skim. So those headings and bullet points are very important. And if you have one key thing, this is the thing, don't put 15 different things that are important in one email. say, just the priority. One thing, maybe you've got two things. And then at the very bottom, do a, here's kind of a recap PS, here's what this was about, and here's the link. Because people skim and they may just go all the way to the bottom, and then you can kind of like go, oh, if this is what you're really looking for, here it is, go. So I think it's looking at what other people do too that you really like. We talk about this with teaching and online courses. What do you like? What do you not like? Emulate those things. Figure out like, well, I really like the structure of this, and I like the fact that they put, images in here, and I like this. And as creatives, guys, put something creative in your email. It doesn't even have to be related, but if I'm talking about art, I'll pop in just some pictures of my art, or maybe my studio, just to break it up and make it look nice, right?
Yeah, make it pretty.
Yeah.
Well, we love beautiful magazines. I think of these as little magazines.
Yep.
So the prettier they are, the more of my attention you're going to get.
Yep, exactly.
And when you're talking about, what do I write about? I just want people to understand, I talk about this all the time, that a finished product, whether it's a piece, jewelry, photography, doesn't matter. The finished product is not the golden rule.
True.
Like I can't post anything because I don't have anything finished. It's just as interesting to see your work in progress.
Yes.
Show me what you've got so far. Show me what you're doing. Show me what you're using. Your brushes, all of that stuff is just as interesting, if not more, than, hey, I finished this giant canvas. Here's a picture of it.
But there's mystery there, right? That you don't really know I agree. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, show me your progress. You know why? Your process, not your progress, your process. Because I want to know how to do it. I can go to a museum and look at end results. That doesn't teach me how to do art. Teach me something.
Teach me. And progress is also important, because some of my most responded to, if you will, emails was during the time I was reclaiming my studio space. And I sent pictures, progress pictures. Here's what it looks like today. Here's what I've done. A little link to a video, and actually showing and talking about the things I was changing and using and all. And those, I got a lot of feedback and responses back to those. And that was the progress of, you think, well, who cares what you're doing in your studio? That's like boring. That's ugly. Those pictures are ugly. But I put them out there and I showed them, and then it's like, oh, that's what my space looks like. Oh, I can overcome that. Or those are great ideas. And I can't tell you how many people responded saying, I'm doing that, and I did that, or whatever. And it was awesome. So it doesn't always have to be the completed, oh, and here's what my space looked like. I just spent 3 months working on it. It was like, okay, well, that's great. But,
Yeah, it's like showing somebody the cover of the book, but not allowing them to read the pages.
That's a great one.
It's
that's
like,
great.
Excuse me, I'd like to, how did this happen?
Exactly. Yeah.
Tell me the story. Tell me the story.
And that's really what we're doing, right? We're sharing stories.
We're storytellers.
That's right. Exactly. And if you struggle like me with words, images help me in that, so true.
And, put videos, links to videos.
Yes.
If you're like, I can't write about this topic, don't. Put a link to a video and talk about it.
Right.
Because people who don't write well usually speak beautifully, and that's their strength. Fine. Link them to a video.
Or an audio. You can do an audio file.
I've done that before,
where I just did an audio, and then that was what I sent them for the week or whatever. You can get super creative with your ideas. Play
to your strengths.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when should our listeners start? Like tomorrow? Today?
Yesterday. Yeah,
oh,
immediately. If you're at any time thinking of a business, start. Start now.
And the thing, exactly. Even if you're not doing it now, because then you've already really worked up to that point and you haven't lost that time. So, and inside Makers Tech U, my monthly membership for tech stuff, we have an entire lesson training on list building. We go over different email service providers. I give you lots of ideas and tips on things you can share. I even give you a template of all emails that you can send out the first 3 or 4 emails, and all you have to do is tweak it to suit yourself. So there is help out there, folks, but we encourage you to absolutely don't wait to do this any longer if you have been putting it off.
Yeah. It's time.
Yeah. And I do want to say one other thing about this.
Please.
There are providers out there who are quote unquote free, and then there's, paid. Most plans will give you a certain number of people on your list for free. And then once you go beyond that, you pay. Please, 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 please do not get in the mindset of, I'm only going to keep my list at this certain amount so I don't spend any money. That's a defeatist attitude, and you're not going to grow. And that's not the point. The point is that it does take some money and investment into having a business. And that is a very important place to invest. So don't hold yourself back and say, I'm only going to keep it at this. And I'm saying that because I have heard that.
I've heard it. Yep.
Like, don't do that. You're only hurting yourself, So I definitely wanted to make a point to say that.
Yes, because when you have something to sell or to share, you have now limited your revenue. Like You're never going to go to the next level.
That's right.
Because you only have X amount, whatever that cap is, 500, 1,000, whatever the cap is,
right.
that's where you're stopping. No, your email list needs to be as big as you can get it, because you'll be surprised to know when you send out an email what percentage actually buy your product. So the bigger that number, the better results you'll have.
Or even open, because through the analytics, you can see what your open rates and things are. And don't, here, I got one more point I want to say. Go for it. This is my recommendation. If your email service provider will allow you to receive an email when someone unsubscribes, do not turn that on. Do not turn that on, because guess what? You're going to have people that are going to unsubscribe. They're going to sign up for your free thing and they don't want to hear anything more. Or they've been on your list for 5 years and they've moved on to something else. Or they are in a place in their life where they're just overwhelmed and they just can't get any more emails right now. Or whatever. There's all kinds of reasons. I mean, we unsubscribe, right? To email lists.
All the time.
So do not take it personal. It's going to happen. And in fact, you want it to happen. Because if they're not opening your emails, it's hurting your account. You need, and I even go in periodically and look to see if these people haven't opened an email in 6 months, they don't want to open an email. So it's time for them to go. And I actually purge them because they're not opening. It's hurting my open and deliverability rates. And I don't want that. So I really encourage you, do not turn that on. Don't turn it on.
Yeah.
Just leave it off. It's happening in the background. Just let it go. It's like looking at your unfollows on Instagram. Don't look at it.
Right.
Just know that it's going to happen and just go with the flow.
Yeah. Just stay in your lane. Keep moving forward. Exactly. That's it, people. Just keep walking.
Right. Exactly.
Don't stop, turn around, look.
That's right. Because you're going to dwell on that and it's going to upset you and you're going to go, what did I do? And you're like, nothing.
It's normal.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to happen. So
agree.
I enjoyed talking about that. It's a topic I like talking about anyway. So yeah.
Yep. Well, it's very important. So I'm glad we covered it.
Yep, it is. Well, thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time, right?
We sure will.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Creatives Get Real.
We love hearing from you. So hop on over to Instagram and leave us a comment. And we also appreciate reviews on iTunes.
And you can find me, Sandi Keene, at sandykeene.com and my classes at popupartclasses.com.
And you can find me, Roben-Marie Smith, at robenmarie.com. And if you're looking for and need tech support, check out my membership site, makerstechu.com.